I'm Luke Beck, and you're about to watch the Kiwi F.O.R.T podcast at Digital Nations. Joining me today, he's worked at Epic Games since the early 2000s. He's worked on some of the industry's biggest hits, including the Unreal franchise, Bulletstorm, and the Gears of War series. I have with me today Jay Hosfelt. He's the lead animator at Epic Games. Thank you for talking with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
No. How's your stay in New Zealand so far?
So far, it's so good. I got in today, so...
Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's start things off. As an animator, how do you decide how a creature or machine is going to move when there's no real-world example of how they would?
We probably just look for analogs in other creatures. So we might take part of this one creature and part of another. So, for instance, we had the Corpser in Gears of War, which had these big, long legs, and then the back tail was more like a kind of like a scorpion or something, or a caterpillar even. And we just kind of take a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and I think while we animate it, the DNA of the creature just kind of emerges.
And then you can just kind of mold it to however you want.
Yeah, and there's less pressure with those because no one expects how they move.
Fair enough. What special techniques do you use to imbue your animations with weight and substance in order to get a more realistic movement out of these digital creations?
So there's kind of two lines there with motion capture. The motion capture by itself is always very light feeling when you put it on a character. So we literally have to put weights on our characters when they act. We will put diving weights on them to make it heavy. Other than that, we have to do a lot of timing adjustment. So when they they put a foot down on the ground, we might take a few frames out so it really hits hard. And so a lot of it we just kind of layer on the weight.
Oh, that's cool. Just like alter the keyframes and things like that.
Yeah, we just kind of scale the keyframes, mess with the motion curve.
Well, really quickly, what is a keyframe?
So a keyframe is basically when you're telling the interpolation of all these bones, you're actually putting a set value on it on that one frame. And then it'll interpolate from there to your next keyframe.
How have motion capture suits changed the way you go about sculpting a person or a creature's movements?
We generally don't let that limit us. We will look at a sculpt of a character, and if we know he needs to raise his arms above his head, and if he has shoulder pads that won't let him, we will talk about that in the design. But most of the time we don't try to let ourselves be limited.
You've worked on a lot of amazing titles during your career. What are some of the challenges you and your teams have had to overcome?
I think usually it's just limited time and making smart decisions to get as much animation and a good quality out at a good amount of time. And usually the challenge is letting go of an asset before you've actually felt like it's done.
As an artist, nothing is ever completed.
Exactly.
Yeah. How has animating changed over the course of the current system cycle, and how do you see it changing over the next few years?
So, in the last cycle, it kind of started off strong. We knew we just had to have a really high quality animations, but this last system, we finally got facial animation and finger animation, whereas the last generation, we kind of sculpted the characters' faces in one pose for the whole game. So going forward, I'm going to say probably there's going to be better AI for the characters, a lot of more kind of under the hood AI scripting and behavior trees, which of course is going to require a lot of animation to support.
Just having them move more naturally and just take their cues based on what the character is doing and whatnot.
Yes, we want the illusion that they're always doing new animations, not the same cycles over and over.
With the Infiltrator tech demo that was recently released and the recent the Infiltrator one came out quite a while ago, but the recent Inside Unreal videos that hit the internet recently, they show off how the new Unreal Engine works and what makes it interesting. Can we expect to hear about a new franchise or title coming out of Epic anytime soon?
I can't speak to that. Sorry.
Completely understandable. We haven't heard about this next title in quite a while. What can you tell us about Fortnite?
Just keep your ears out. I can't speak much.
That's really looking forward to that one. Minecraft, zombies, looks kind of quirky, awesome cartoon violence, fun. Now, can you give us any insight into what you and your teams are working on at the moment, or how many titles are being worked on?
I cannot, but let's just look at Epic's past record of making really awesome games, and we're still Epic, and we're going to make awesome games.
The future is going to be bright. How many animations do main characters have these days, as opposed to back in 2003 when Gears of War was first being imagined?
I would say, so just using Gears of War as an example, because each game has its own unique needs for animation. I would say Marcus had, it was in the hundreds. Prior to that, it was maybe 40 for a character. But Marcus, I think, when all was said and done, by the end of Gears 3, he had maybe 400, 500 animations. And that's just for gameplay, not cinematics. Yeah.
Okay, so with the side characters and background characters, how many animations do they typically have?
The boss characters, so say like the Berserker, they have a very limited set of motion because they just do one behavior, or just a limited set of behaviors. That's much less. That was maybe 60 animations. But with Gears of War, we actually shared Marcus's animations on all the Locust. Dom used it, Cold Train used it, even Anya used it, and we did a few custom ones for her, but she used maybe 80% of Marcus's animations.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for talking with us today. It's been great. Can't wait to see what Epic has to show for us in the future.
I'm Luke Batt from the Kiwi F.O.R.T podcast, and that was us at Digital Nations. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Yeah!